Hello everyone and welcome back to Scandinavian Design 101. I'm Sanna.
I'm Andreas and we are two Swedes and we love design. And in this video we're going to show you a number of extremely overpriced design classics you definitely should not buy new in the furniture store.
Bad idea.
While choosing furniture for this episode, we've taken several different aspects in consideration. Craftsmanship, material, and not least the second-hand value. It's often said that the worst thing possible to buy is a new car because it loses 20% of the value as soon as it leaves the car dealer. But frankly, buying new design furniture is often an even lousier deal. So let's take a look at some examples.
Yeah, let's do. First out is the artichoke lamp designed by the multi-talented Danish architect Paul Henningsen back in 1958. It was designed for the Lönngren pavilion in Copenhagen and soon became popular in public buildings all over Denmark and somewhat later the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Guess you've all seen it when visiting your local bank office or government building.
Yeah.
The recommended retail price for the 60 centimeter copper finished version is $16,365 US. We're talking dollars in this.
Yeah, so we just say dollars.
Yeah. Or nothing at all.
Yeah.
And there's obviously several other versions available, some cheaper and some even more expensive. And they're often on sale for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And here we're going to show you an auction price for one. Sold for 3,770. Only 23% of the retail price.
Yeah.
And the condition is obviously important when buying second-hand artichoke. For some people.
Yeah, and for some
I don't really
it's not.
mind.
No.
I like when it shows that it's been used.
They are beautiful when they're quite rough. And yeah.
They are easily damaged, though, if stored or transported incorrectly. So that could be bad. And they are difficult to repair as well.
Yeah.
Most popular are, of course, the old copper artichokes. During Henningsen's lifetime, the artichoke was only available in copper, actually. All the other versions are later inventions. And frankly, the white one is boring.
Yeah, it's really boring. Lifeless.
So that you can buy for cheap.
Yeah. And next out, the geometric steel sofa PK31/3 by Paul Kjaerholm. It was designed in 1958 and differs quite a lot from most other Danish sofas at the time. The recommended retail price for the three-seat sofa is astonishing, between 36,500 and 41,500, depending on the choice of leather. And the matching easy chair has a retail price of between $14,900 and $17,600. So it's extremely expensive in the store.
Yeah.
And then the auction prices. For example, here we have a sofa. Sold for $5,400, and that's about 15% of the retail price. And we have another example here. That's a new and unused sofa sold for charity. And it was sold for $11,800, and that's still less than a third of a new sofa. So perhaps that's about the value people are prepared to pay. Almost. A third. And the prices are even more astonishing when it comes to the easy chair. It's often sold for as little as 10% of the retail price. And it's interesting to note that nowadays the furniture by Kjaerholm are being produced by Fritz Hansen, but they were originally designed for the company Ekhold Christensen. And Kjaerholm himself did actually work for Fritz Hansen for a short while in the early 50s, but left the company on bad terms. When the company didn't want to put Kjaerholm's furniture into serial production, he left the company, never to return. The old PK furniture by Ekhold Christensen was produced by the best craftsman at the time and under supervision of Kjaerholm himself. And nevertheless, it's still possible to buy an old Ekhold Christensen sofa for a fraction of the retail price of a new one by Fritz Hansen, and that's crazy.
It is, actually. And now to a classic piece, the Barcelona daybed. The first version of the daybed was probably developed by Lily Reich. And as you can see, back then it looked quite different from the well-known version sold today. Since 1964, it's in production by Knoll, attributed to Mies van der Rohe alone.
Yeah.
His longtime companion, Lily Reich, is sadly quite forgotten today. But she did in fact play a huge part in the development of classic Mies furniture like the Barcelona chair and daybed. The recommended retail price is approximately 15,000. And here we have an auction price when it was sold for 6,800 in great condition. Less than half.
Yeah,
the price.
And still I think it's the material and construction makes it ridiculous with $15,000 because it's just 4 tubular steel legs and like a rectangular wooden construction, so it's not like rocket science to produce it.
No, it can't be.
No. And now the beautiful lounge chair by Warren Plattner for Knoll. This chair is made from steel rods, fiberglass and foam and was first launched in 1966. And the recommended retail price is $7,000. Yeah, it's really looking great, but seriously, $7,000 for one chair.
No, that's not okay.
If you want 4 of them, it will set you back like $28,000. It's
bananas.
Yeah, it really is. And here we have one auction result for a pair sold at Bukowski's for $3,400.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, very reasonable. I would have considered buying them. They're very nice.
You didn't think that some days
back
ago?
No.
And now a Danish piece, the Tremme or Spokeback sofa by Börje Mogensen. This sofa was designed in 1945 when Mogensen and Hans J. Wegener rented a cabin together to design furniture.
Yeah.
And what else did they do? Well, it was probably a collaboration between the two, but it's Mogensen who claimed the design when it was put into production by Fritz Hansen. Back then it was a commercial fiasco, and only a small number of them were produced before production was discontinued. But 20 years later, it was reintroduced by Fritz Hansen, and this time it was a huge success.
Yeah.
Recommended retail price is between 11,300 and 15,000, depending on the choice of wood and upholstery. This is a piece of furniture you definitely should not buy in the furniture store. It's often available at auction, sold for much, much less. Here is an example for when one was sold for $1,700.
Yeah, I mean it's.
I don't even know what percent
you
that
can't,
is, but
no, you can't even compare the prices. It's
silly.
And then we must also mention the egg chair by Arne Jacobsen. And yeah, the same thing goes for example, the Swan chair. The recommended retail price for the egg upholstered in leather is between $10,500 and $14,000, depending on the quality of the leather. And that's quite a lot of money, no doubt about it. And it's really easy to find egg chairs on the second-hand market. At auction, it's often sold for as little as a third of the retail price or something like that. But this is not the main reason not to buy a new egg chair in the furniture store. Instead, it has to do with the shape of the foot. After the death of Jacobsen, I can't really remember the exact year, but the foot was redesigned. And sadly, the new foot is not good looking. It's frankly quite ugly looking. You can see the comparison here. And therefore, if you want to buy an egg chair, buy one with the original foot. But there's one small problem we must mention here. The egg chair is made from styrofoam and the rubber foam, and old chairs tend to dry out, resulting in fragile chairs and loss of shape. Beware of that when buying a second-hand egg. A great tip is to buy secondhand egg. It sounds like, yeah. A great tip is to buy a reupholstered and restored vintage chair. And they're often a bit more expensive, but they're still way, way cheaper than buying a new one.
Yeah. And finally, we must also mention the upholstered furniture designed by Börje Mogensen in the early 60s for Fredericia.
Yeah.
Möbelfabrik.
Yeah, Stolefabrik.
Stolefabrik.
Yeah.
Let's take the elegant sofa 2213 as an example. It's often nicknamed the embassy sofa because it was used at the Danish embassies all over the world. The shape is classic. In a way, it's a modernization of a sofa designed by Kåre Klint for the 1929 Barcelona exhibition. First of all, we know it's of high quality and made from the best materials, but the retail price is set between $15,000 and $18,000. Considering the price level on the secondhand market, that is way too high.
Yeah.
The last example for an auction price is a sofa sold for $1,360 instead of $18,000.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a bargain, but it's not good to buy it for $18,000 in the furniture store. And this was some example of furniture you shouldn't buy really new. And we don't think you should buy almost anything new. You should always check at auction first.
If you can.
Yeah. And hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, you should check out our previous videos. We have a lot of videos about design and furniture and such stuff. Yeah.
Thank you so very much for watching.
Thank you.